That was amazing. Thank you, Dr. Alexander and Dr. Payette. I'm really excited about the person that's going to come up on stage next. He's a very special human being. I believe he's a very remarkable person. And it's this year's NAMIWalks keynote speaker, San Francisco Giants mental health advocate, Drew Robinson.
And Ellie. Good morning, everybody. Just want to thank you all for being here, and thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here with you all this morning, especially with this being a community event and topic that I'm extremely passionate about and relate deeply to. I was fortunate enough to play baseball most of my life and grew into a prospect to be drafted by the Texas Rangers out of Silverado High School in Las Vegas in 2010 at the age of 18. Being able to play parts of 12 professional seasons with parts of 3 at the major league level, looking back, my career and life path turned into another reminder of how things don't always go as planned. Because although being in the spotlight was just something that came with playing baseball, most people know me these days from my personal story of my fight with mental and emotional struggles that led to a suicide attempt in April of 2020. This led to a project called Alive, the Drew Robinson Story, that ESPN and I publicly released in hopes to help inspire people to address their mental and emotional well-being before getting to a headspace that I experienced leading up to my attempt, which ultimately led to the San Francisco Giants creating an opportunity to turn my calling into my work. I'm so grateful to still be here. Before I get into some of the lessons I learned, I'd like to share a journal entry that I wrote on August 5th, less than 4 months after I pulled the trigger, which I feel was a well-explained reflection of the powerful experience and perspective shift I went through post-incident, and that is still accurate to today. So like I said, this was a journal that it just kind of fell out of me one day when I was doing a lot of my self-care routine, my self-work that I was going through at that time. This is 4 months after my attempt. April 16th, around 8 p.m., I attempted suicide and shot myself in the head. A day later, April 17th, around 4 p.m., I dialed 911 myself in an attempt to have my life saved. Later that night, not only was my life saved, but it was reborn and restarted. I woke up from my first surgery completely and immediately overcome with the feelings of love and appreciation for everyone and everything in my life. I was spiritually freed and mentally cleared of all the unhealthy blocks and filters I placed on myself and my thoughts. The euphoric high from the sheer strength of those feelings running through my body were physically noticeable, and that's when the word perspective first came to my mind. It felt as if someone had flipped a switch and I was able to clearly see how beautiful life is. I was sitting in a hospital bed in the intensive care unit section, without my family or friends because of COVID, with a hole going through my face and a level of pain that I didn't think was possible to feel, but was, and still am, able to say that laying there each day were the best moments of my life. I was able to experience genuine happiness and gratitude for everything, good and bad, in my life. I was able to look at all of the unhealthy thoughts and habits I had before April 16th and now appreciate them for leading me to where I'm supposed to be. Crazy to hear that, right? I was supposed to go through what I went through. I believe I was meant to experience everything the way I did for reasons I would have laughed at myself for thinking before the 16th. Reason number one is to use my story and my learned lessons to help people battling through something that doesn't seem winnable. To a realist, my story doesn't make any real sense, and from what I've heard a couple times from people I've talked about it with, it's not believable. Shooting myself and surviving 20 hours with a night of sleep and clear thoughts about what to do in each situation leading up to the 911 call doesn't add up scientifically or anatomically. It does spiritually. This is what was meant to happen to me. I'm here to share this openly to help others. I'm here to tell anyone that no matter what eternal battle is happening within you, you are strong enough mentally and physically to overcome it, learn from it, and eventually give thanks to it for happening to you. I'm here to tell anyone that opening up about your feelings and thoughts and emotions is a strength and not a weakness or an inconvenience to others. I'm here to tell anyone that connecting with people deeper than any surface level relationship is where you'll find clarity, understanding, compassion, and empathy to be able to experience things with others together. I'm here to tell anyone that mental health battles and disorders do not define who you are as a person. Your mind is your servant and not your master. I'm here to tell anyone that it's not too late to start believing in yourself, to start being yourself, and to start loving yourself in a way that's completely free of self and outer self-judgment. So like I said, that was the journal entry 4 months after my attempt, and I think it just encapsulates what I experienced on the inside of really just having nothing to lose at that point. And it's really something that I still learn from and still think about to this day, because I think it's that impactful and it's that powerful. I'm well aware that I shouldn't be here, and I know that I made a really bad decision, and I'm not glorifying what I did at all. I'm just trying to make the best of a really unfortunate situation, which is, I think, a message that most of us can relate to. So I'm just trying to make the best of it and really trying to learn how to manage my depression, my anxiety, and the challenges that I face each day. So with that, I think I'd just like to touch on a couple of things that I really like to focus on when I address these kind of things. But it's just the idea, and it's a shirt that we've had made with the Giants and something that we feel very passionate about, but just the idea that strength isn't always physical. I know that hits hard for the group that we have here today. We all know how challenging it is and how much strength it takes to address these things head on. And I would like to add on to that about how it's almost a skill set. It's something that you can find confidence in and empowerment in, because before my attempt, I felt ashamed that I felt discomfort, or I felt lesser than, or I felt weaker. But now I find an incredible amount of strength and confidence in adding to an already good person and someone that tries their best, that I'm just trying to add a bragging tone almost to the fact that I'm high functioning, but I still deal with these things, and it's still hard at times. So the fact that I'm able to go through life and do these things, and while also being able to address these things, just adds to a level of confidence. So I would like to challenge all of you to add a cool tone to the fact that you do deal with some mental challenges sometimes, because it's just something that you're dealing with, and it's something that has allowed me to find a new level of confidence. So adding a bragging tone that I do therapy every week, that I meditate, that I tell my parents and friends I love them, tell my best friends who are guys how much I love them and care about them. Just being a little bit vulnerable has allowed me to experience a level of confidence that I was always missing before April 16th. So I would also like to just to start with, or to add to that, another message is just that you're never alone. I know we hear that a lot in this community, but you really aren't. You're not alone, and you'll be understood when you're willing to talk about the things that are giving you challenges. I think that's the fear that I felt the most, being someone who was lucky enough to play professional baseball, and what seemed to be the life that I was always dreaming of as a kid, and still challenge that, and to still experience the challenge that I had. It was very scary for me to be thinking about telling someone how I'm feeling the way I was feeling before April 16th. So the idea that you're not alone, that you'll be understood when you do open up about these things, which, again, I know this community knows how important it is to do these things, but sometimes we still might hold back. We might hold back a little bit, and I just challenge everyone here to not do that. Floodgates have opened for me, and I encourage anyone to follow that lead as well. And the last thing is, there's always help. We're all bonding together today because we agree on this, but it's just always good to hear a nice reminder that there's always help out there in many different forms. And for someone who was so uneducated before my attempt on this topic, I didn't realize there was more help besides just therapy. But finding my pillar, things I can lean on through those tough times that I still experience today. We talked about it earlier: self-talk habits, meditation, journaling, gratitude practicing, and again, I do therapy almost too much, I would say. Once a week with individual therapy, once a week couples therapy, and then a life coach as well. I've dedicated my life to doing this, and I think it just shows that there's always help, and there's always a possibility to improve quality of life, no matter who you are. So I know we talked about it earlier, but these things just don't discriminate, and it's something that we can all form together and bond together with, and that's why we're here today. So I just want to thank everybody. I'm so proud of all of us for being here and doing this and being vulnerable. And I thank you all for having me, Ellie, and the rest of the mental health team of the Giants. We're honored to be here. And I just want to say I love you all, and thank you for having us.